I want a sandwich. Now. Oh, sandwich wench. Yo, wench. Sandwich. Now. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. Sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. A sandwich. A sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. Sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. A sandwich. Oh, sandwich wench. I want a sandwich. Sandwich.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another political recap stream here on the Moisky Live channel. Joining me to talk about things, there's been a few things going on I believe, is Trups. Say hello, Trups.
Hello, Trups.
That was quite a satisfying sound. What are you drinking today,
Yes.
Trups?
It is a lime mojito, like spiked coconut water thing.
Ah, right, so pre-made.
Yes.
Nothing wrong with that. How is Trups?
We had one left in the fridge, and I figured get rid of it.
How are you?
I'm doing okay. Obviously, we've been gone for a couple of weeks. It's been a bit of a time. But otherwise, my vacation went well.
Yeah. I saw the
yeah,
message.
I would say
I saw your message about trying to find the Romulan ale for me.
Yes,
love
I
that.
looked, and so here's a bit of a story about that. So I think it was Wednesday where we had gone back to the liquor store, and I had asked the people working, "Hey, do you guys have this, and is it in stock?" They say, "Yes, it's in our system. No, we don't have any in stock. I can look for other locations nearby that might have it." And I go, "That would be great." And so they looked, and turns out that nobody in the entire like 100-mile radius that it was looking have it.
Well, I'm very glad you guys had a crack at trying to find it for me. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm loving that.
But yes, apparently it is in fact hard to find physically as well.
Yeah, well, it's lovely that obviously I've had my friend David looked, my aunt looked, and now my friend Trups has looked. I love this.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe one day we'll find somebody that finds it just by chance.
I think it's gonna be one of those by chance things.
Yeah, it's going to be a fluke. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm grateful nonetheless. I'm glad you guys got to go on a holiday.
Yes, very much so. And then we had LARP the week after, so that was why.
How was that?
It was actually pretty good. I have no complaints.
I'm glad you have no complaints. That's fantastic news.
What about you? You've been doing stuff for the last 2 weeks, yeah?
No.
No?
I've mostly been working. I haven't really done much at all.
Oh, well.
I went to Norwich too. Oh, sorry.
Videos.
I went to a whiskey distillery, of course. Yes, I forgot
Mhm.
that. Yeah, videos. I've been trying to fix my audio. That's been my main job today, actually. And I thought I had, but for some odd reason, the new microphone is not being picked up by Discord. I am literally recording this on the microphone apparently built into the laptop. And that pisses me off because this microphone... Sorry?
I said he was fuming.
I have been fiddle-faddling and faffing, and I'm not happy. The new mic is plugged in, everything is there. I don't know why it's not working or showing up as working, and it's pissing me off. I wonder if maybe it's the USB connector. I don't know. Maybe it's USB. I don't know, actually. Which one is it, actually? Is it this one? Let's find out. Let's unplug it and... Yeah, Velcro. Sorry, guys. Let's unplug it. Come here. Going on an adventure, USB cable. Oh, you're not going to reach, are you? Well,
Going
shit.
on an adventure.
I bloody cable tied the wires behind the desks. I can't reach around my laptop with it. Okay,
Mm.
we're not going on an adventure. I'm sorry. If the audio doesn't sound great, I'm afraid for this stream you're going to have to suck it up. Because I can't do anything to improve it. I really have been
Look,
trying my
sometimes I
hardest.
sound like I'm in a bucket, so don't feel bad.
That's really because you do a singular thing. You do that. You do it to get it a file to me. You do it as one line, don't you? Mono.
I do. I do.
But
To
it's
make
not.
it
It's not.
easier.
Yeah, it's not your fault. That's just that's what you have to do.
Hmm.
I'll have to fiddle faddle tomorrow and hope that I can fix this problem that I don't quite understand. And I don't understand it because it's not a mic. I use condenser microphones. This one has my an audio interface panel with loads of knobs on it to alter the gain, equalize, balance, and all this malarkey and levels. And I'm not as knowledgeable on it, so I've only had. I thought I'd fixed it because I sent some audio to Leona and to David, and both listened back and said it sounded better. We compared it to audio from my intro to my videos, where it's from a Yeti a few years ago, and yeah, it sounded really good. So I was like, oh, I'm truly excited about this because I can actually do something now. But now I don't know if it was that or it was a bloody if it was the bloody microphone built into this laptop. You know,
Mm. Good question, actually.
I don't know. I
I
don't
might
know.
be able. I might be able to help you at a later time, but.
Oh, fingers crossed, eh?
Hmm.
Anyway, otherwise I've
So
been alright.
I will say that there was one thing that did occur, I guess, or was happening in the your country in particular, but
Oh,
out of fear for actually getting my boy here arrested, I will avoid talking about it because
would you want to briefly mention it at least? So I know what you're talking about.
um, uh, the the extradition charge that the I think it was Kier that put out against everybody who would speak ill of the migrant situation.
They could sit on a fence post. Go figure. Labour recently made it illegal. They removed the law that banned terrorists from being given council housing. And I was like, why should they be given the opportunity to get housing in a country they've been trying to harm? Like, nah, fam. They don't deserve to be. You should be yeeted from this nation as quick as possible. I have no time for this at all. And it's not a racist thing. It's not sexist. It's not bigoted. It's very much a statement of you just shouldn't be in this country. And right now, Labour are looking like pandering morons yet again, trying to use white guilt as an excuse to act like tools towards their own people. I don't get it. I don't, and I'll happily call this out because I don't really give a shit. They could try and arrest people. They think they've got a rule right now where if someone goes to prison for committing a crime like that, for criticizing them, which is very Soviet, um, their rule is you stay there until the next person gets arrested, charged, and sentenced for the same crime.
Hmm.
Basically, it's one in, one out kind of mentality. And I'm like, well, you know what? F off. All right? Because, nah, ain't nobody got time for that.
But you saw that there were people who actually got just arrested for saying like minuscule stuff, right?
Again, don't forget, years ago when he worked for the Crown Prosecution Service, he prosecuted successfully somebody who made a joke on Twitter. It was the joke Twitter trial. He legitimately did that. He wasted so much money over a Twitter joke. Yes, he got the person convicted, but he got them convicted over a joke on Twitter. Go figure, this fool would be very much all about them consequences for free speech. I mean, not have any respect for this idiot. So
Yeah.
it's a bit of a weird one, really.
Yeah, I don't really know, but also because I can say whatever, but it's your
Yeah,
it's your show. Consequences come to you.
agreed.
Hmm.
I'm very interested to see how this plays out. But I'm going to leave it for the time being. I'm not entirely sure what the hell to make of this, because it just looks like Labour are genuinely trying to hurt their own people. Don't forget, they think anyone that was protesting against them, they think they're far-right racists, and yet a lot of those within that group were very much not white. Saying, really, you're going to call... Does that make me the Uncle T of the group? Yeah, the sympathizer, right? No, that's not how this works, please.
Mm.
You have to be better than that, and it's tragic.
Indeed.
So where should we begin this week? Because there's been a lot going on with your election season gearing up.
Boy.
I've seen more articles saying Kamala's going to win.
Yes, they are very much in the Kamala camp. That much is very true.
Thing is, I've seen people on stream, like I saw on my friend Cog's stream, people, there are polls that say she's going to win. And I'm like, but for what? What is she going to do? What are her policies? I don't know what she is. I know nothing of what Kamala is meant to be.
So I did do a look-sees when I was what was it? Oh yes, it was their speech. It was their speech that they had done at the DNC, and I was listening really intently for a singular policy position. I wanted just one. I got three.
Be more than I
It
could
took
see.
a while. I took a while, but basically it was abortion. It was putting Donald Trump away. Fixing the border. They said day one they would reinstate the border bill that the Republicans had quote unquote crushed.
Okay.
And it was to help bring up the economy. Okay, so
right.
A couple of things with that. Those are the three policy positions in it was like an hour-ish long speech.
Yeah.
Everything else was basically, look at what I did in my life. Let me tell you about what I did as Attorney General.
Right.
And also, did you know that Trump was a bad man?
Jesus.
That was literally the whole speech. And so I guess if you want to, let's start with back to front. So the speech that she did. So of course, okay, we're talking about the abortion argument first. They want to make the point that they want to codify Roe v. Wade into federal law. In order to do that, they need to win the House and the Senate as well, or at least have sympathetic people in those different branches of the legislation.
But can it be done?
Maybe. As of right now, no. And we just had some of their more radical individuals lose their primaries. Rashida Tlaib was one of them, I believe. There was another one who also lost her primary. Ilhan Omar did not lose her primary.
Rashida Tlaib, that's interesting.
Yeah, I believe so. Rashida.
Did she get destroyed, or was it more of a
primary?
a slight decline?
Checking now.
Oh, and query for the chat. I managed to get the microphone up and running. It was a USB hub issue, but it's not working on Discord. So do tell me how it sounds.
Sorry, not Rashida. It was another one of the squad. What was the other squad?
It wasn't Cory Booker, was it?
No.
I've turned the game up. So
Rashida is fine. She was fine.
Do let me know, because can you hear me, Trups?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, okay. I wasn't sure because you were carrying on talking. I'm like, oh shit, he can't hear me, can I? I'm trying.
It was Jamal Bowman.
Oh, Bowman.
Jamal Bowman, the one who set off the fire alarm.
Yes, I remember. Yes.
And according to this, he in brutal primary now broke begging for money.
Oh no! What a shame.
I know.
Let me go find some sympathy.
The Vanquish Squad member blew $5.3 million in a losing cause, with Latimer spending over $5.6 million. As of July, Bowman's campaign reported more than $373,000 in cash in a bank, with debts of over $141,000.
Okay.
So it was Jamal Bowman. who lost their primary. Nothing of worth was lost. And we're happy to see it.
I mean, it's Jamal Bowman. If it was Rashida Tlaib, I'd be very interested. Very interested.
No, she actually had an uncontested primary. I did look it up to make sure.
Probably because she's in a safe seat.
Michigan 12th district, yeah.
Like people
So
are going to vote.
that area,
yeah,
is very sympathetic to her causes.
Her causes being bullshit.
Gaza.
Oh well, that's
a very Muslim population.
It's a very risky one to go with, though, in the wider scope. But if you're in a safe seat, you can espouse your bull and get away with it.
100%. But similar to Ilhan Omar.
Yeah.
Now, what's funny is the DNC did not let Rashida Tlaib have a speech, which I thought was interesting. They had some very interesting folks at that thing. But anyway, circling back to the original how we got here, they could theoretically pass the abortion thing, but they would have to get a significant amount of seats switched over to Democrats, which as of right now doesn't look to be happening. But take every poll with a grain of salt, because Hillary was projected to win once, and Trump was projected to win once too. So take polls with a grain of salt.
I will admit that when the election happened and we spoke about it in 2016, obviously Trump won. We weren't streaming them, but in 2020 we did think Trump was going to win, and then he didn't, and we were so confused. This time,
yeah,
I'm
100%.
I'm not going to say. I just don't see the point, because I don't know what.
I'm not letting the karmic world that is like the universe listening to me talk. I'm not going to let them.
That I do think that if he doesn't win, you brought this on yourself.
There have been a couple of policy positions that Kamala has pushed beyond just the three that I had mentioned: the abortion, the economy, and the border bill. The funny thing about some of these policy positions is they seem like they're adopted from partially other platforms. So the border bill thing, again, is not actually border security in the way that would have been understood. It had like in it, I think it was 20 million to Ukraine and stuff like that. So not really a border bill in the traditional sense.
So not one at all, then.
Correct.
Imagine my shock.
Yeah. And then the other one, what else was in it? It was increased amount of border patrol agents trying to expedite the whole process with the taking in migrants. Somebody had actually broken it down rather nicely on X, and I can look it up in a second. But so that was one of their issues that they said that they want. Oh, here it is: funding for child trafficking prevention, increased funding for border security, humanitarian assistance, and this included 20 billion for improvements to the U.S. border security. So that was the only one that actually went strictly to border security. Aid for allies included 14.1 billion in aid for Israel, 60 billion in military aid for Ukraine, 4.83 billion in aid for the Indo-Pacific. Refugee assistance, which was 2.3 billion in refugee assistance inside the U.S. 10 billion in humanitarian assistance for Ukraine, Israel, Gaza. Border inspection machines. This bill would help fund the installation of 100 cutting-edge inspection machines to help detect fentanyl. Only 100, lol. The bill included 1.4 billion for cities and states who are providing critical service to newcomers.
Okay.
So, yep, that all sounds like a border bill. Sounds like the largest chunk of that bill is 60 billion in military aid to Ukraine.
It's a fairly sizable amount of money to help with this war that you really shouldn't be world police on anymore.
That's correct. And which, by the way, has now, migrated into Ukraine invaded mainland Russia.
Yes, I've heard, and people were okay with it. And I'm like, I mean, I get it. Russia are terrible at warfare, but can you perhaps not resort to, annexing their land next?
Yeah, can we not?
I mean, it'd be advisable when they have access to things we really don't want them pulling the plug on or trigger, right?
And by the way, there was an instance where there was a standalone border bill that did go up before the Senate,
Right.
which was just the border funding.
Okay.
Republicans 50 in favor, Democrats 48 opposed, Independents 2 opposed. Therefore, it was never about the border. Because if they wanted it to be the border bill, they would have passed the standalone bill. But no, they wanted more, which is
I'm
a
not
real
surprised.
shame. Which is how our government has now morphed into a we must all only ever do omnibus bills,
Omnibus
where
bills are
everyone gets a
nonsense.
cut of this thing.
Yeah, it's
So
terrible. I don't like
yeah,
it.
it's a real shame, honestly.
It feels. I understand it as part of the politics. You get something you want, and then your vote's secured, right? But at the same time, it's a rip-off.
Oh, of course it is.
Can you not
It is
waste
100%
money?
a ripoff. I would love for them to stop
The,
wasting our
the
money.
amount of times they look like a typical poor person who's been given money, they feel the need they must blow it.
Hmm.
It's just stupid.
Not only that, but they also will like shit on the individuals who are trying to do stuff for their communities properly. Like they don't actually do they're not doing the whole representing their constituents thing. They're uh posturing as if they are a supporter of X and Y, and then they'll name it something like that. Like I love the infrastructure bill, which also did not always include infrastructure, but they call it the infrastructure bill because it's a nice little tagline to add to a headline.
Infrastructure
Um,
is a fancy word for black hole.
mhm.
It's the same thing.
Similar to the Green New Deal, how the Green New Deal had bullshit too.
Green New Deal is bullshit.
Yes, it was. Actually, no, it was less bullshit because cow fart's bad.
That's
I don't know
true.
if you remember that part.
Yeah, the methane. I remember. You still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Sorry, you went completely stone dead, and I wondered if I pulled the cable and not realized.
Oh no. But yeah, so we've got a whole bunch of dumb people doing dumb shit.
Yeah,
Yay! Love that. What
love that for
the
you.
other thing? Oh yes, the economy. The economy. Wonderful. Okay, so she has proposed a few different ways to fix the economy. One of them, which garnered some very curious
Hmm.
cocked heads,
Yeah.
was her comment on
Is this even working? Okay.
which was a Donald Trump position.
What position was that?
That they did not want to tax tips. So let's say I'm a server, right? And I'm getting some let's just say a quarter of my yearly in um in tips. I would still have to get that taxed as if it was income, and I would have to file that myself, which is problematic. Um, but the other option now with what they have asked for, which Trump had asked for, and Kamala was like, "That's a great idea. Let's steal it." Was the idea that you wouldn't be taxed on tips, which I think also translates to streamers. In case that's a curious thought.
It's an interesting one.
Hmm. Um, And so, yeah, that's another interesting one too. Uh, I don't know to what extent that would necessarily actually work out
I have a
because
query.
when they, yes,
So it's all well and good, Harris suggesting all these ideas to improve the economy, make things better for
mhm,
everyone, to really, level up, as it were. Why the fuck
mhm,
couldn't you have done that for the last 4 years as VP? Like, why now are you showing a hand of somebody who might want to do something for America?
mhm.
Why now? Why not when you had your chance to? Because it sure as hell wasn't Biden running the country.
Oh yes, well that's also been a very potent question that most conservatives and like-minded individuals have been asking.
Right. What?
You're in right now. Why can't you fix these things now? The response we get is, well, because she's not the president, and so
She's got the nominee, even though she didn't win any primaries. I mean, bitch, you are basically the face of this White House because he is on the
mhm,
way
it's not
out.
Biden,
Well, it definitely isn't now. He's given his final speech, and it was not final speech, his DNC one, and it was horrendous.
yeah, and he
That
was angry.
he didn't want to be after 50 plus years of public service. I'm not surprised.
Well, I think it was because they. I think he thinks he's being snubbed.
He just lost his last job by having it taken away from him.
Yeah, 100%.
He'll never have another job. He's too old. He can't complete speeches. He'll never do the speech circuit because
Hmm.
it's ruined for him. He didn't pass any bills of note in his time. He made the
Hmm.
economy worse. He'll never actually have a legacy that makes him look good. And
Yep.
I've seen so many blue, no matter what voters like Mark Hamill at DNC things bragging about this. We must beat the Orange Man because Orange Man. I'm like, you have too much money if you don't realize how harmful what has happened over the past 4 years is to the rest of Americans.
Oh, they don't. They look for a while. They used to say that the Republicans were the actual party of the rich. It's not been that way for quite some time. Um, you'll notice, and we talked about this 2 weeks ago. The Democrats are mostly funded by Silicon Valley.
Mm-hmm.
They're mostly funded by really, really well off individuals. The amount
Yeah.
of celebrities that come out in support of Democrats because it's culturally relevant
Mm-hmm.
is a lot higher than Republicans. And if you ask yourself why that is, it's a combination of, well, here's a better question. If you believe genuinely that the Democrats are going to put taxes on people who make over a certain amount of money as a celebrity, why in the hell would you want more of your money to go to a government?
Yeah. So I understand that because a lot of celebrities, what they do in this country, they create a holdings company, and so where their money goes, it goes there, and they take a dividend. That way, they don't ever have to really pay any taxes beyond business taxes.
Yes.
You will do everything you can to keep your taxes low, as you should, because
And yeah,
taxation
you
is
should
theft.
do that. That's good business.
Absolutely. If you're paid, I was talking to my dad about this earlier about because he's in the other room with David. We're talking about some soccer players or football players who are on massive salaries but not actually doing anything right now because they're not in the starting 11. If you're earning £300,000 a week, you're earning say you put that into a holdings company after 3 years, you will have after tax of 20%, you'll have £37.5 million. Would you want to play, or would you be okay with the 37.5? I would take the money because I know I don't ever have to work ever again, and I'll sit and play freaking any game I want, really.
Right, basically.
But I would put the money into a holdings company and take an annual dividend of about 10 million, and just enjoy life.
Yeah. And then you just pay taxes on whatever you're taking in.
Exactly.
Yeah, that sounds right to me because that's just smart.
Yeah,
Like, what else would you want? Like, why else would you want to do that?
I
Or
agree.
what else would you want to do with that money? Like, having it in your bank account doesn't do shit.
Agreed.
I would maybe invest in property, maybe do stuff like that. Um, but other than that, like, I can't imagine what else you would use it for. You know what I mean?
Oh no, I fully understand that. I agree with you 100%. I see no reason to cock up this kind of income when you don't have to do that. I can't get this audio balanced.
I would never. And also, like, would you imagine, right? Let's say they increased the taxes on it. Let's say that you are making, let's just go with a 10 million
Yeah.
per year. And they say that they're going to start taxing you if you, oh, this was a very curious one. Um, unrealized gains tax. Do you know what that means?
Huh. Unrealized is an interesting one because it's like planning ahead.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. It's like
Well, unrealized means you haven't taken any of the money.
I like to use the term unrealized potential for people who could have done better but didn't.
Yes.
I don't
So
like.
unrealized gains tax has been talked about in the past
Nah, bad
as
idea.
a possibility to help supplement economy, right?
Bad idea.
It's a horrible idea because as an example, I own a house.
Yeah,
I am in a. Suddenly, you have gone very quiet. Where did you go?
I'm right here.
Okay. Suddenly, I'm hearing you less, but okay.
Oh, okay.
It might be my headphones.
Might be.
Okay. Anyway,
Hmm.
so you take the I'm in an area that's growing, right? So my house has
Testy, testy, test.
money that I paid for it is no longer the worth of the house according to the average, um, the average um, price, right? So I would have, let's say, 75,000 ish in unrealized gains if I were to have sold the house. Well, if they start taxing unrealized gains, let's say they did it with, let's imagine a percentage. Let's just say 10%. I would
Yeah,
owe the IRS $10,000.
yeah.
I don't. Oh, I'm sorry. I would owe them seven. I don't have $7,000.
It's still a lot of money, and that's not money. It's to be honest, that's like the idea. Some things. Okay, things fall outside of capital gains tax, and I generally, if you're looking for all these different things to tax, I think you're the problem, not the people who bought the items you're trying to find extra taxes for, or the privilege for them owning it. You're just trying to lead them with a stick, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't agree with that. I think once it's yours, it shouldn't then be taxed because you own it. Unrealized tax or whatever, yeah, capital gains or whatever.
Gains. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a terrible idea that should never be implemented because to do so would actually harm all the wealthy people, especially. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that you want to harm your wealthy donors. That's a guaranteed way for them to all go, okay, we're leaving. Bye.
Well, this is what ended up happening in a lot of cases because most people didn't want to pay increased taxes. It's why you saw a bunch of people leave California
Oh, yeah. They went to Texas and they're trying to do it there as well.
because Texas doesn't have an income tax.
Good. Nor should it.
Yeah.
Pay federal tax and that's it.
Yeah. Well, taxation is theft.
Agreed.
So that was one of the things that she had mentioned as a way to potentially, a way to potentially, get more money into the system. Another one that she so brilliantly came up with was it price gouging or caps on certain goods
What kind of like price on good? What do you mean, like setting a rate where something can't be sold below a certain point?
above a certain point?
Okay, comrade.
Right. Okay. So let's piece this one together. Let's say the cost of a thing of chopped meat, right, is capped at a certain, let's just say like $1 per like ounce or whatever, right? That means it can only ever be that rate. Let's say then it becomes more expensive to feed the cows, and the price has to go up. No, you can never recoup that price, but people will keep consuming it at the same rate. This leads to shortages of
Agreed.
food.
Yeah, no, it will cause problems. Far too many.
And everyone, even Democrats, know this, and we're a little like, I'm not so sure about this one. I know she was advertising it for meds. Yes, that's true too. But I know that she has also floated the idea for price gouging for groceries, citing the insane gains that companies have seen over the last couple years.
I didn't realize that
Record
Kamala
corporates.
Harris was a pharmaceutical sales rep. The thing with the prices on the food is it's entirely her and Biden's fault that the prices even went up to begin with.
Mhm.
Inflation existed. When the companies realized they didn't have to bring the prices down, they decided not to. That's entirely their fault.
Yeah.
And that's poor leadership 101. And that's both of them.
Yeah,
Miss
it is.
and
Now, of course, Biden did put in um, a measure that capped insulin prices, or actually, no, it was like 4 or 5 ish drugs
yeah,
um, for seniors, and it could not be sold over a certain price, and that was good. I didn't actually have an issue with that when I was like, oh, okay, cool. So you're actually using the FDA to like help curtail companies that have already established and figured out how to manufacture a drug to make sure that they don't extort the vulnerable people
mm,
who need it. That's good. I'm
yeah.
glad that we're doing that. um then of course you have to ask, okay, well, we kind of did that under Trump too with insulin. Trump had capped insulin costs for I think it was people over 50 or under over 60. um and that was the same ish idea, right? um the same ish idea that actually did work too. So they're just kind of floating on that same idea. um
Okay.
yep. I'm trying to think what was the other piece of this interesting puzzle for price gouging. um
I still think
I
it's
don't
their fault for the price gouging anyway.
Well, it is. If you
And
ask.
I love that they think they're going to reduce inflation, they're going to increase all these other areas to make things better. And I'm sat here like, but you've had this for 4 years with Joe, and you were the VP, and you did nothing. Like, I
Mhm.
don't know what Kamala did beyond some fake "let's go to the border" thing, would not really do anything. It was as cringe as freaking AOC's, picture at the border thing in a car park.
Oh yes, I remember.
That
I'm
was
very familiar.
like that's what it was.
They
She didn't
uncapped
do her
it.
job.
Um, I don't think so.
Oh,
I
EpiPens are expensive. They uncapped it on the EpiPen.
I don't know anything about that. I know
Uh,
that it was a lot of their stuff that they had done for the medical stuff only affected seniors. So.
so, as mentioned in the chat, Naistari, she was appointed to the border and proceeded to do nothing until Texas mutinied and closed the border themselves. Texas offered to secede actually, and when any government tries to threaten Texas in the US, it's kind of like, well, you're punching up at the guy who doesn't give a shit what you think. Um, Texas don't care. It will do what it wants. You don't bully Texas.
Yeah, Texas basically said, "Are you sure about that? Well, we'll take our ball and go home." Um, and I believe really it became push come to shove when they said, "All right, fine, you won't protect our border, we'll protect our border," and
But then
set
they said
National
that
Guard.
they then said they were going to do something. Didn't they say they were going to? Federal government said they were going to do something to stop them doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but Texas has a right to govern itself
Yep.
on a matter of its own state security. That's their thing. If you,
Yeah.
the federal government, have refused to do anything to protect them, which you should do, then they have to act. It's why these sanctuary cities are hilarious. I saw a video being shared about today of someone trying to take an illegal immigrant into a DNC convention. And the fact these guys who are also pro-immigration were instantly like, no, we don't take these kind of people, thank you. And I'm just like, how out of touch reality are you that that's your response?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you guys need
Yes, the
to,
answer is yes.
you've got to like, you got to put your thumb out of your bottom and actually accept here you've dug this hole and made it worse for everyone else and feel like that you don't have to be accountable for it. No, you can bloody well go back to your little ivory tower and your 6x4 freaking shed that's actually apparently a condo, and you can share it with 30 other guys, all of whom claiming to be 15 years old but actually look closer to 45.
There is
It's
a
a
bit of
hard
an
life.
issue with that.
It's a hard life, okay?
Yeah, man, it's hard being an influencer.
Honestly, I get that.
Yeah, man,
I,
don't you know streaming is the hardest job?
I've never been so stressed in my life. My anxiety's up. I need to get my electrolytes, the usual.
Mm-hmm.
Someone give me an isotonic. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, there are no more stressful jobs.
Nope.
Nope, of course not. Um, don't forget the professionally guarded gated communities. Oh yeah, let's talk about that for a second. I'll talk about the irony of the border bill real quick.
Oh, please do.
So the irony of the border bill. Oh, remember how they took away the border wall? They stopped construction on it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they put up a wall around the DNC.
Did they?
They did. And guess what? It worked.
Oh my god.
Yep. It was really effective, in fact. The wall of DNC. See, Ken understands what I'm getting at. It
You're gonna be kidding me.
turns out walls are extremely effective. Especially when the peasants are outside and they are protesting Genocide Joe and Killer Kamala, which is what they had called them during the DNC, during the pro-Palestine demonstrations outside.
So, I have some on the subject of like election leaders. I'd seen a few articles talk about some of those within certain states that had voting issues now being more vocal about the fact there were clear problems with electrical systems, that the electronic systems they were using for voters that couldn't be in attendance.
Mm-hmm.
In certain states that ended up going blue, even though they were red originally. What are your thoughts on electronic voting?
When I was in college, my professor for early computer science and actually my supervisor detested voting machines with a passion. We had a project requirement in his class to develop a voting machine software. And we would basically make sure that it could tabulate and perform different, those kinds of tasks.
Mm.
And it could be used over and over again and things of that nature.
Okay.
This was a midterm project. So he would do this, have us, build this thing. And then what he would do is when we submitted the midterm, he would break it in front of everybody in class. And then for your final, you would have to make it better.
Good. I like
And
that.
his whole point was that voting machines, even by people who are doing it correctly, have inherent vulnerabilities in how they are computed.
Okay. I like
They
this.
have vulnerabilities just like any other software. I don't like electronic voting.
I don't either. Whenever I voted, I've always voted in person with a doodle, bit of card, I guess, with some things on. I understand why some want access to it, but I do believe that right now it is not safe unless you are providing blood, stool, urine, semen, and hair follicle samples, fingerprint ID, and eye retina scans maybe a bite teeth mark sort of thing as well. Just make sure you're the person you are that's voting, and the system somehow can make sure that that doesn't change to a different color or a different name in person, or fakes numbers, or perhaps just completely balks and actually gives the state to somebody else who didn't really win.
Indeed.
I don't want voter fraud, and that happened. And now we have these admissions coming out, and it's not getting much coverage. Of course it's not, but it's actually now coming out that this was actually true. When Trump was calling it out, he was right.
Yes. Those issues exist. And to think that any company could come out and say, no, our systems are foolproof is a really good way to get sued later.
Yeah.
Because all it takes is one person to compromise your system.
Mm-hmm.
Then you are no longer 100%.
It's a very good
And you
analogy.
advertise 100%.
It reminds me of like boxing, because once one person's knocked you out, your chin
Yeah.
is gone. Your chin is done. So it's very similar to that, and I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
It will never be the same again, and it really shouldn't be. I think we lean too heavily today into technology to solve our
Mhm.
problems,
Yeah.
and I think that we have neglected the very real situation where there will always be somebody smarter than us. There'll always be somebody smarter than you. Do not think that you are infallible or that you cannot be proven wrong, or that the things that you create cannot be exploited.
So let's talk about the recent DNC event.
Hmm.
I'm sure where Biden gave a rather pathetic speech. I have a list of embarrassing things that happened during this.
Hmm.
Jen Psaki said to a half-empty room, Trump and Vance speak to a tiny, tiny portion of the public, and that's a striking thing. The camera then immediately
Hmm.
pans to a half-empty crowd of people who are not moving. Let's ignore the canned cheers and laughter, because that was a thing as well. Um,
Oh.
Quote from CNN, where some of the Republicans pointed out Biden is known in his career as being one of the best eulogy givers at funerals, and now they're making him come and give his own career eulogy.
Yes, they did.
Joe Biden had an argument with a teleprompter and lost. Quote, women are now without not allowed, excuse me, not without electoral, long pause, or political power. He then gives up.
Hmm.
Yeah. Michigan governor accidentally emasculates Tim Walz by saying, I love Tim Walz. So, Tim, my daughters were saying to me, he's like a male version of you, mum. And I thought that was funny. So, Tim Walz is an interesting one.
Oh,
People have been mocking because his son really is behind his dad. And I'm like,
they really shouldn't.
I kind of agreed with Sargon on this one that his son is just really proud of him.
Yeah.
I don't agree with his
Son's
politics,
also
but
like 17. He's a kid.
yeah, there are rules I abide, and he's not a target. Next, Jill Biden says she watched Sleepy Joe dig deep into his soul and decide to not seek re-election. That's a quote of what she said, by the way. AOC got a standing ovation for giving a speech where she said nothing. She just did the sassy Hispanic thing. Democrats tried to start a "We Love Joe" chant, and yeah, no, it went nowhere. It got about as much applause as me clapping with a 20-second gap in the middle. Um, Joe Biden says with a straight face, we finally beat Big Pharma after mandating that government paid COVID shots for millions of Americans. They beat Big Pharma for that. Yeah.
They did, in fact.
Um,
They beat it, certainly.
some random state senator said that Donald Trump could even weaponize the Department of Justice to go after his political opponents, which is exactly what Kamala Harris and DNC have actually done to Donald Trump. All right.
Correct. No
Yeah.
lie.
Jake Tapper, one of the presenters, has a bit of a crush on Joe Biden on TV. Quote, that fear about the Democrats nominee speaking is gone. Joe Biden, who would come out and they, Democrats, would sit on the edge of their seat and hope that he didn't say something meandering or, or off message or addled. Kamala, is not somebody that in a situation like this is going to cause Democrats that tension that we used to feel in the media or Americans when the president would come out and speak. The fun thing is, Kamala doesn't have to be mentally handicapped or, well, as I mentioned to my father actually, she's the type of person, because of how stupid she is when she speaks. I could believe that when she was a kid, she went to the back of the bus to lick windows, not because she deserved to be there, but because I think she enjoyed the taste of it. And so she's inherently dumb on a level that would put you in special needs classes. She says nothing and makes it seem like it's prophetic or philosophical.
So something curious that I noticed with her speech. So we all have seen Kamala's speeches while she was vice president, and how remarkably simple and kind of stupid they all were. Her acceptance speech was not that. She was remarkably cogent by comparison, which lends me into the question of, okay, so at first I thought she was incompetent.
Yeah.
Now I think she's cold and calculating. I think she's actually evil now, because that means that she was playing a part when she was speaking so simple, or drunk. That was also a question that people have
Well,
had.
that can be. I can address that with more points if you'd like.
Okay.
On day 2, Bernie Sanders called out the DNC by saying billionaires in both parties should not be able to buy elections, including primaries. He just shat on the
Ooh.
DNC doing that.
Yeah.
Kamala Harris preached it is outdated, wrong, and backwards to think more police create more safety. Meanwhile, her convention had a literal wall of po-po
Yes, I did. A
police.
lot of police, dude.
Yep. New Jersey. Oh, hang on, no. New Jersey had a man dressed up as a woman. That's how it's quoted here. Announced the delegates, and then he forgets he forgets what he wants to say as he gets caught up in his pronouns and Trump derangement syndrome. This is
I
cringe.
need to go back and find what that clip was.
I will link it to you. 'Cause it's quite. He just forgets everything. I'll put it in the server for you. There it is,
Oh no.
Vigilant Fox. Someone just forgets what they were saying. California delegates initially chose to pass instead of casting their vote for Kamala Harris, and that is
Which
normal.
state?
That's normal for the state of California, though, according to a community note. They pass on the nominee's home state and go last. That makes sense. DNC crowd chant "Do something," totally oblivious to the fact that their party's been in charge of the country for the last 3.5 years. Okay. Let's see here. Gavin Newsom calls California the great state of Nancy Pelosi for launching a 2-minute ass-kissing session for Kamala Harris. And a
Yep.
Democrat member of the Chicago City Council comes out against his own party on live TV, saying that the convention is failing. His name is Raymond Lopez. He represents the 15th Ward of Chicago. Problem he has is he's in a state where the majority of Chicago determines pretty much the entire state of Illinois. We discussed this before. It's such a monopoly there. By the way, I saw stuff from like Michelle Obama, and I've seen memes of Michelle Obama and Barack, and there's a funny meme. I don't know if you've seen it. Someone
Oh
painted it on a
god.
wall where she has the biggest D down the
Oh
side of her
yes, I
leg.
have seen that
Oh
before.
my god, that was like a Banksy. I would happily put. It just amused me. It tickled me to no end.
There was
But
there
the
was
Wall of
another.
Police, man.
The Wall Police is actually something to. It felt a little dystopian. I don't like to use that all the time, but it looked a bit
Yeah.
police statey.
So in the chat, Ken, you pointed out Matt Walsh was doing that. I had seen that, and that tickled me a fair bit. I also had seen on Twitter Boogie had apparently gone to the Republican one, and they were, unlike the DNC ones that when they get heckled they get really angry. The Republican ones were praying for him, which I thought it was funny, and that
It's
people
kind of
saying
insulting in a
just a
different
thing,
way.
just a thing, right? yeah, okay, she's getting big audiences now. When Kamala was trying to have a shot at Trump, she was saying it while she herself only performed in front of 1,500 people. He was doing it in front of 25,000. You saw
Mhm.
the reflection of the actual crowd that was, photoshopped into the picture. The actual crowd was a lot smaller. They weren't in the reflection of the airplane. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
That
And I
was
think what
terrible.
had happened with that was something like distance with
Yeah,
like the whole thing.
yeah. There's still many discussions going on with that right now. I'm just impressed they've gone with Kamala. I really am, because I don't see the point in going with her. She's not a good nominee. She has her policies are based on one big fundamental problem, and that is that she was the vice president and did nothing for 3.5 to 4 years. And yet people are blindly going for her because they hate Trump. Like, you do not care about your country if that is your entire mentality.
Mhm.
If you want to vote against Trump, that's fine, but do tell me a reason beyond orange. He's going to take away women's rights when he took away none. He'll start a war with Russia, which he didn't last time with anyone for that matter, or he's going to cause the economy to crash, which he didn't do when he was in charge either. Like,
Right.
please tell me what he would do. That is so bad. Just because
Well,
I'm curious.
what they're going to do, obviously, is they're going to keep making him look bad, um, for things that they are going to do themselves.
I
'Cause-
bet if he wins, they're going to try and the 25th. They're going to try and impeach him for a third time. Hat trick is desirable. Three impeachments in a row. Fuck it. They're
Mhm.
going to try. They're going
I
to do.
100% believe that.
I expect the 25th to be invoked. I expect them to try everything. If he wins the House as well, they're going to be crying. Like,
Yeah,
Americans hate
100%.
America. It's like,
Well, okay, so
nah.
one of the weirdest things that they keep saying is that he himself is going to like make a ban on abortion, a federal ban on abortion. And that has never been the policy that he has expressed. The policy he expressed was always, hey, look, I think the states should handle it.
That's what he said. I remember because the Roe v. Wade thing. We agree on this. I do not believe the federal government should dictate. It's first of all, it's not in the Constitution. Second, it's not. It's up to the states to determine this. I do agree there are extenuating circumstances where I do believe that there should be an option for this. Sexual
Hmm.
assault and RAP. Sexual assault and incest are the two that I would definitely say you have to allow that because that's
Yeah,
not fair on the woman. She had no chance.
right. But these are also like decisions that the states make. It's not for the federal government to say that.
Agreed,
It's
and it should be
not.
down to the
It's not Trump's
states.
job, is what I'm getting at.
His job is foreign policy.
Right. Basically, that's what a president really does.
The House does domestic, but even then, that
Yeah, it does the laws.
yeah, on state level, it's down to the Senate and the Congress of that state and the governor.
And also things that happen inside the country. Well, that's why like we have cabinet secretaries. We
Yeah,
we do like do a really good job of breaking out these pieces. Now you could definitely make the argument that we have inflated the amount of bureaucracy involved in our system, and I would say that you're probably correct. Um,
I don't think my country has a leg to stand on that since we're the kings of bureaucracy,
yes, true. You guys still have kings after all. Um,
and we'll do for at least 100 years.
yes, we will. Um, unless like the anti-monarchy side gets their way, in which case you'll lose like a third of your
Never going to
culture.
happen. It'd have to come down to a vote for the people, and the people will vote to keep King Charles.
Yeah. Well, I think you would lose like a third of your like country's culture if you did.
Oh yeah, pretend to a
So
council
I don't
state.
think it would be a wise decision, even if people were
And
felt some sort of way.
they'll get rid of King Charles just so they can turn Buckingham Palace into a hotel for migrants. He'll then
Yes. Well.
complain the house is not good enough for him.
Hmm. What's the other thing that that happened at the DNC that was worth mentioning? Oh, I guess so. Biden's speech was a little bit irritated and angry. I don't know if you got to like actually watch it.
I did, and I thought it was a guy who didn't want to be there because he wanted to be fighting for the party. And to be fair,
Hmm.
I would rather he was against Trump because I genuinely believe if he lost to Trump, he would go out with grace, as opposed to having it taken from him.
Yeah, I would agree.
I think he would have lost, but
Yeah, but at least he would have gone out like on his terms, fighting for it and going, well, I guess the people didn't want this after all.
going to retirement, get some
Yeah,
sleep.
and then like, all right, whatever, we out, bye, kind of thing, right? You know what I mean? Um, but no, he got shooed out, and then he gave a speech on the first day. Even Obama got day 2, right?
Yeah.
And Bill Clinton, I think, too.
Yeah, Clinton did. I did not have sexual
Clinton made a
relations with
comment.
that
He
woman.
goes, "I'm actually younger than Donald Trump," and my first thought was, "Man, you don't look it.
Yeah, no, you bloody well don't.
Man, you don't look it." But I don't think, Bill, you got any leg to stand on when it comes to talking about things that Trump shouldn't do in office.
Yeah, you didn't grab a woman by the pussy, but you sure as fuck made sure her ears were touched by your hands.
Oh.
Gag, gag, gag,
Monica
gag,
Lewinsky.
gag. Yeah.
The blue dress. Well, blue and white.
Yeah, there's a bit of white on that, yes.
It was.
Was there anything else that happened with the DNC, or we
I can't think of anything else
'cause I can't think of
specifically
either.
with the DNC. I'm just trying to think if there was anything else. Like, I guess we could talk about fucking Tim Walz real quick, because who the fuck is this guy? Because 2 weeks ago we didn't know, because we didn't have a show then, right?
To be honest, I saw counter articles to his existence, and these counter articles were that he's better than Vance because Trump doesn't like Vance. He doesn't like him at all. He hates him. He regrets choosing him, and I'm like, well, he wasn't going with Robert Kennedy Jr. He wasn't going to go with him. I'll be honest. You both have gone with guys I know fuck all about.
Yeah, but like, at least we're not that bad, right?
I would.
Did you see that RFK Jr. endorsed Trump?
I did. I saw that earlier today.
Yep. They're upset about that, reasonably so.
I saw a coverage meme that said 80% of the media, or 90% of the media, sorry, love Kamala Harris and promoting her everywhere. 90% of the media are actively denouncing, attacking, and criticizing Trump. Make this make sense. And I thought that was a very accurate way of summarizing just how shit this is. How blatantly biased they are, and how tragic it is that you're still pulling this shit 4 years later, 8 years later. And also the other memes of insert these certain celebrities who spoke at the event, Oprah Winfrey as well. All those years ago, they sat with Trump, and he basically spoke about his love for America and politics and what he would do if he was president in like the 90s or the 80s. And now he was president, and they all hate him. It's like, hang on a second, bitch. He has been consistent on things. But with the Oprah thing, his interviews with her, things he'd said back then, work by now standards. It translated. It was very important.
Well, they're pretty much the same thing. Like, he basically kept a lot of the same positions.
He did, and it was consistent.
I think that a lot of their issues is that party has gone a certain way, and they have to acknowledge that the party did go that certain way, and they don't want to.
They definitely don't want to.
Because remember, Trump was a New York Democrat. He was pretty left leaning back then, certainly.
Mm-hmm.
Now, well, that's a different story.
Make America great again.
Well, it's because Make America Great Again needed to happen, because America wasn't doing so hot.
Just to think of my chat, I recently looked at the MAGA website merch because I was curious. I know Trups, I don't know if he still has it, but there's the hat.
I still have a hat, yeah.
They have a white and gold one, and I really want it. Just not. I want to have it in my office. I just want it in my office. I'll hang it in here.
But you can't. Somebody today with a camo Make America Great Again hat.
You can't ship them to the UK, so I'm gonna have to like save the money and give it to somebody and be like, "Oi, buy this and then mail it to me. I'll give you the money." I'll work on that. I think it was Leona last time got me some Trump Pence swag because I just thought it'd be hilarious. I don't really care.
I think that's true.
But I want the hat because at least I have one. Because this is the last chance I'll ever really get it, to be honest.
True. You're definitely not going to have that many options going forward.
Very true. We have, by the way, reached sadly the end of this stream. It's gone an hour, and I have two people in another room to entertain. Is there any? Are we here next week?
Yes, we should be. Yes.
Oh, brilliant! Hopefully by then I'll have this microphone up and running, and we'll be smiling, laughing, and hopefully I'll feel less self-conscious about my audio quality.
On the normal time, correct?
Normal time, yes.
Yes, normal time and normal day. We'll do that.
Absolutely. Fingers crossed then for an exciting week, so we have plenty to go through.
Yep.
Thank you for joining,
No-
guys. We really appreciate it. We'll see you in a week's time. Smash the like if you enjoyed this. If you didn't, smash the like anyway, because I don't care. I want likes. Say good night, Trups.
Good night, Trups.
Good night.